In this video, you are going to learn how to create a stunning website using Squarespace. No coding or design experience is required. There's a reason that Squarespace is one of the most popular website builders out there, and that is because they make it extremely easy for anyone to create any type of website. By the end of this video, you will have a professional looking website no matter what type of site you are wanting to build. So I would highly recommend building your site as you watch this tutorial and following along. There is a link down below in the description to get started with Squarespace for free. It is an affiliate link, so if you use that, it does help support the channel at no extra cost to you. But of course, no worries if you don't. I will also have timestamps down below in case you wanted to follow along or skip around to different sections, but I would recommend starting all the way from the beginning to the end to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. So let's jump right in. After you click the link down below in the description, you will see a view that looks something like this, where you can get a free website trial with no credit card required. Once you actually go to launch your website and make it live, you will need to put in a credit card, just a heads up there, but we can build the entire website without having to pay, which is really nice. So we're going to hit get started here, and it's going to ask us a few different questions. Now you can choose to answer these questions if you'd like, but what I like to do is just skip this and go right to the website template, so I can choose the template that I would like, but you can choose one of these if you wanted to. But I'm going to hit skip here, and it's going to ask us a few other questions, but I'm just going to hit skip. And then now it is going to ask us to choose a template or build with AI. Now for this tutorial, we are going to start with a template so I can show you all the functionality. I would recommend starting with a template because then you actually know how things work and you can actually make the edits. Later, I will have a tutorial on how to build a website using the AI feature. I think it is really good, but I still prefer the browse templates to start off with the website. So we're going to click browse templates, and you can see here, Squarespace is phenomenal when it comes to templates. They have all sorts of different templates that have beautiful designs, no matter what you're trying to build here. You can go through and scroll through all of these designs as you would like, or if you wanted to, you could scroll to this left and you can see you can find specific categories here in this left-hand side. You can find popular designs here, all templates, collaborations, and then different niches basically. And so once you found a design that you like, for us, we are going to go, this is one of the ones that I really like, is this one right here. We're going to click on that. And then once you've clicked on the template, then you can see it will ask you if you wanted to choose a color palette. Now you can later go through and customize the color palette here, so don't worry if you wanted to change it later or if you're worried about choosing right now. But you can see you can just click on these and it will change the color palette slightly. I'm going to go with kind of more of a classic with just this black and white and gray here. I think I really like the way that that looks, but once again, I'm going to show you how to customize this a little bit later as well. And then you can kind of scroll through and see what this template looks like when you do change out all of those different designs. We're going to keep it there and we're going to start with this design. It's then going to ask us to create an account. Then once you go through and create your account, just basically adding your email and your login information, it will go through and start creating this website template for you. Here's where we can go through and name our website. For this one, we're going to call this just website demo. You can name this, of course, whatever you are wanting to. And then we're going to hit next here. And then it's going to walk you through a quick little tutorial on how to use Squarespace, just kind of a very high level view of that. You of course can go through and watch this, but I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know right now. So now we are actually on the back end of our website where we can actually go through and make customizations and edits. Now I want to get you a little bit familiar with this view here so you understand where to go next. Now you can see on this left hand side, you have all sorts of different options where you can actually go through and customize your website, the pages, the styles, and the assets. And then up here at the top, you can see this gives you a preview of your website. And if you wanted to edit the page that you are on, all we need to do is click edit right here and it will drop us into an edit view. Now the way that Squarespace is built is basically a drag and drop editor. So there are a couple of different elements that you need to be aware of. Basically, when it comes down to it, you have your header, you have sections, you have blocks over here in the left hand side, and then all the way at the bottom, you of course have your footer. So I want to walk through and show you how you can edit all of those different options and also show you the functionality in each of those options. So let's start first with the header of the website. So if you click here, edit header, you can see it gives you two different options. You have edit design and then add elements here in the left hand side. So let's start with edit design. If you click on this, you can see you can change the spacing of the nav here. You can change the element spacing as well. And then down up here, there are also a couple of other effects. So if you wanted to, you could do a drop shadow on any of these. You can see a little drop shadow forming right here. I personally don't love the look of that. There are lots of different things you can do with this, or add even like a blur effect here. So if you wanted the header to scroll down, as you scroll down, you can click here and then go down to the fixed position. So as you can see, as I scroll down, the header does not follow. If you wanted the header to follow, you can come over here to edit design and then click on fixed position, and then it will stay as you scroll back, or basic kind of functionality there as well. Now, another thing you can do is change the height. If you wanted this to be a little bit smaller, I actually prefer it just a little bit smaller basically there. Then before we move over to the add element here in the top left hand corner, this is where you can change your logo if you wanted to. assuming you're going to want to, you can either give it a site title, just the website demo, or you can add a specific logo by uploading a file here. And you can see then you can go through and change the height of the logo as well as much as you need to. We're going to probably place it right about there. The next thing you can do inside of the header is add these elements here. You can see you can add a button in this top right hand corner. You can also add social links here, and then you can also add a cart and then also a language switch module as well if you wanted to. Now, my guess is the button will be the most common thing, or maybe the social links. I prefer to put the social links in the bottom of the footer personally, but to each their own. Now you can go through and either flip these off to get rid of them, or if you wanted to as well, you could click right here and then click the little delete icon. Another way to get rid of maybe a mistake, say that you added a button and you realized you didn't want to, or maybe you messed something up. Remember that there is this little back button here that will get rid of anything that you've done to minimize those mistakes basically as you are building, because inevitably it will happen that you accidentally hit something or add something that you don't want to see inside the website. Now you can see up here, we do also have the navigation. We're going to come back and talk about later how to edit this navigation. There are a couple different ways, but we'll come back and talk about that after we've gone through the whole design process of the website. Now, whenever I get done with an element or editing something, I like to make it a habit of hitting the save button so that if something were to happen to my computer and it was to crash, I don't lose out on any progress. So we're going to hit save here, and then now we can scroll down to this element here. And you can see I am currently in the header element indicated by the highlighted blue. If you click here, it is going to change what we're going to be working on. You can see now I have this section highlighted in the blue here, and this is the section that we are going to be working on. And with each section, basically a section is just what it sounds like. It's a little section of the website. You can add multiple sections or you can delete sections. So if I wanted to add a section here underneath this little part, I can hit add section. And you can see this is one of the things that I really love about Squarespace is they have basically even templated sections that you can go through and add, or you can add a blank one as well. So if I wanted to add a blank section and just customize it, you can see it will add it there. If I wanted to remove it, I can click that and I could remove that section. Or if I wanted to use one of their templates in any of these different formats, you can see there are lots of different ones here. Say that I wanted to do an events one, I can add that there. And then now I have this little template for me to work with. Now, if you really loved a specific template, you could actually heart it and it will go to your save section. So then you can collect basically some of your favorite templates here as well as you work with them. That way, when you want to grab one that you really like and use often, you can just click it there and then add that to your selection. If I wanted to quickly move this up or down, I can click on these arrows and you can see it will move it down. If I wanted to get rid of the section, then I can just simply hit delete here. Then let's move back up and actually edit this specific section here by clicking this little button. And you can see with this, there's a couple of different things that you can do. Now, the way that Squarespace works is basically on this little tile system. And if you wanted to see the tiles and where you can drag and drop items, you can click on this and you can see these little tiles are going to appear. Now, another way to get these tiles is to just hit G on your keyboard and they will automatically show up as well. A little bit of a hotkey there for you if you wanted to utilize that. Now, the reason why these are nice is because you can see they allow you to simply drag something over and it will snap to those squares. So say that for whatever reason I didn't want this to be centered, I can move this over to a specific section in those squares and it will kind of snap to them, as you can see. Now, I am a little bit limited here because you can see the squares are a little bit bigger. So if I wanted to adjust the grids on those squares, I can come back over to the edit section and I could change the row count here. So you can see I can add more rows to this section so that I can customize it even more and maybe move the button down here, move this around this way, and then also move it back and forth. And now if I wanted to add even more to the left and right, I could click on the add section once again, and then I could change it here and you can see we have an even more customization. So just know that it kind of works on this block system. And if you wanted to move stuff without the blocks here, you can just hit G again on your computer and it will go away. And then you can still move them around and you can see they will appear as you move it back and forth. But sometimes I like to have these just in the spot to make sure that I can see kind of where I want to move things. But to be honest, I think we made this way too wide. So we're going to actually come back over here, oops, to the edit section, and I'm going to change this count back down here to make this section a little bit smaller. And then we're going to move this back up and then put the book consultation back right there. Then I'm going to click on the section area again. Notice how I am clicking kind of outside. You notice this is like a little block. We're clicking outside of here to get the section area. And then we come back over here. And then this is where you can change to a full screen or not to a full screen. So you can see the differences between those two. And then this is something that I think is really nice is you have dividers here. So if you wanted to change the divide on this, they have all sorts of different divides that you could do. And you can change the shape by clicking on this and then moving that along. And you can even shuffle the settings to like some pretty crazy ones. I personally like to go with something very kind of simple, something like not like that, something like this, or oh, it's in shuffle setting right now. So we're just going to come over here and go back to kind of like the normal setting that it has. And then here you can go over and adjust the background. So if you wanted to change the background, this is where you can click this, or you can move the background. So say I wanted to show more more of the bottom right of this photo specifically. You can replace the photo here. And what is nice is you can select from the library that you have, or you can find some of the free images that Squarespace has for you. So you can see there are all sorts of different images. It was powered by Unsplash here. So you can search for something specific, say that I am looking for woodworking. I can click on that. And then now I have all sorts of different images that I could use, really professional looking images for this specific hero here. And you can see that will go and replace that image in the background. If we give it just a second, you can see then it will change that out. To be honest though, I like the image that was there before. So we're just gonna hit this little back button and have that in place. If you didn't want like an image or a video, you can click on art and you can do like just a kind of like an art background on there. I personally prefer the image here. And then finally we have the colors. Now with the colors, you can go through and change these, but to be honest, Squarespace does a really good job with these color palettes. So unless you are a designer, I would generally recommend keeping these color palettes the way that they were designed. You can go through and customize them if you really wanted to, but I find that whenever I mess with these, I just end up making the website worse, to be honest. And so now let's move on to the actual blocks. So as I mentioned, we can add sections to our website, and inside of sections is where blocks live. And when you click on add blocks here, you can kind of get an idea on what they are. Basically, it's everything that lives inside of the sections. And you can see that Squarespace has done a great job at giving you lots of options to easily create blocks. So you can see right here, this button is a block. This right here is a header block, basically a text block. So if I wanted to add another button, or if there wasn't a button in a section that I wanted to, I could click here and it will add that button. And because of the drag and drop system, I can move this button wherever I wanted it to be. I can go through and delete that. If I wanted to edit something inside of here, I can click on this and you can see it will highlight it. You can change the button to a primary or secondary based on your designs. You can see that went through and changed it, and I don't like what that did, so I'm going to go through and hit back here. And then you can also change the link of the button by clicking this little link button right there. You can remove the link and then change that out for whatever you wanted to. You could even have it go to any of the pages on your website. So we'll just have it send there for now. You can have it open in a new tab or just in the current tab that you are in. Now, if you are ever wanting to add a new block, remember that you just want to kind of click outside of a current block. So right now there are no blocks over here. So I click this and you can see that that will bring up a add block little function. And when I'm inside of a block, you can see it gives me the functionality to edit inside of that specific block. So just keep that in mind. Like if I wanted to change the color with that, I could, but we're going to go through and add more blocks here. You can see you can add all sorts of different things. For example, if I wanted to add a form here instead of a button, you can see this will give me the form. I could then go through and delete this and then move the form over here to the left, maybe move this design over here, maybe shrink it just a little bit here, move that to the middle, and then maybe make this a little more bold. Let's go through and highlight it and bold it out so you can see it a little bit better. It's kind of getting buried behind all of this other stuff. So maybe I can move this kind of to right there. And of course, if you double click inside of here, this is where you can change the text. So I can just hit delete and then add this whatever I wanted to. So let's just call this Zoko Woodworking. Inside of here, you can title this, and then you can change the subheader as well just by clicking here, and then you can change that to whatever you are wanting to. So when you are editing sections, it will only apply to that specific section. When it comes to headers, that will apply to your entire website. So this is something that will show on every page of your website. And then of course, each one of these are sections, so you can drag and drop and move and edit each one of these, or delete specific blocks inside of them, or just delete full out sections if you wanted to inside of the website. And as we scroll down here, this is where we get to the actual footer, and the footer works more like a section as well. You can see this is the specific section. Here you can go through and add text. You can add specific blocks as well. One of the most common ones is to add things like social links here. You can see there's already some down below here. I like to personally remove this made with Squarespace on the bottom. Don't want to give them any free advertising, but this is where you can go through and add your social links. If you kind of double click inside of here, this is where you can add the specific links to your social media. Now, a lot of times you will probably want to link to something inside of your footer. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller, these social icons. I'm going to move them over here so they're kind of on the right hand side, and then we're going to click here and add a block, just some text here, and then on this left hand side I'm going to add like contact us or something like that, and then you can add other things like about us or like your privacy policy, different things like that, whatever you're wanting to add here. And then if you wanted to link them up, then you can just highlight this right here, add a specific link, and then you can go to a specific page. Let's pretend that that was just like our contact page, and then you can see now we have our about page. We can go through and link that here as well, and that's how you can go through and add specific links to your website on the bottom there. Now, once you have your homepage looking like how you want it to be, it takes some time to go through and edit those sections and blocks. Then you will want to make sure that it not only looks good on desktop, and I'm no way saying that this is like a website ready template. This is just, of course, for demonstration purposes, but you'll want to click on this mobile view here to make sure that everything looks okay on mobile as well. And you can see this will give you a preview of what this will look like on mobile. So you will want to go through and give this a quick look over to make sure that everything everything looks okay. If you wanted to edit anything, the same rules apply on desktop. Like say that this background image, I wanted to change maybe the way where it's showing in mobile. So maybe I wanted to switch it around. So maybe it's like centered right there. You can go through and do that. So it is important to just double check on the mobile version to make sure that everything does look okay as well before you go back to the desktop and save and exit this view. Now, what we just edited was our home page, but what about all the other pages on your website? For example, where people go after they click the buttons and then these navigations up here at the top as well. Now, in order to edit those, if you come over here to pages, you're going to see this is all of the navigation and all the pages linked to your website. So you can see in the main navigation, we have about, services, gallery, and book a consultation. If I wanted to move any of these around, I can drag and drop and move them into a specific location. If I wanted to get rid of one of these, I could simply just hit the delete button here, and then it will get rid of that navigation inside of there. If I wanted one of these pages, but I didn't want it to be linked inside of the nav, I can simply move this down and put it in the not linked section of my website. And of course, if you wanted to add a new page to your navigation, you can click this little plus button. And here you can start with a blank page or one of the predefined templates that they do have here, which makes it really nice. So you have different page layouts that you could go through and try if you wanted to add a new page, or if you just wanted to add a completely blank page, you can add that there and call this whatever you wanted to have on your page. And I just accidentally clicked that, but I'm going to move it back over here to test. And you can see this is our empty page that we can work with that has our header here and then our footer here as well. And then one thing to call out, you can see I have my logo added here, but it is white, and on this background it is white right now, so you can't see it. So that's something that you'll want to keep in mind when you are adding logos and designing your site, to make sure that something like this doesn't happen when you are adding that in there. Now, on this specific website, the main call to action is to book a consultation. But the great thing about all these templates is you can change that if you wanted to. So if you recall on this page right here, if you click the book consultation, it takes you into this view, and you can see we have a book consultation where people can actually go through and put in credit card information. You can book it if you wanted to, or if you wanted to just simply have a kind of form fill that you could use that sends you an email whenever somebody fills out a form on your website, you can come over here and you can do the same thing where you hit edit. And then instead of having this view here, we could click on this little block, and then we can delete it, we can duplicate it, or we can edit it to have it say whatever we wanted it to. You can have all the manage appointments here, or a simple thing to do would be just to delete it and then add our own block where we can then go through and add a form here. And inside of the form, if you have the form, you can maybe have it centered here. You can go through and design it to clean it up a little bit. But if you click inside of here, what you will want to make sure is that in the actual design, I think actually in the storage, sorry, the email here, it's blurred out, but the email here is the where you want the form fills to go. So I really like this functionality. Basically, as soon as somebody fills out this form, you'll get an email saying, hey, somebody reached out, and it will have all the information here. If you wanted to, inside of the form, you can make certain fields required or not required, which is nice. So you can edit the form fields, and then here you can see the name, and then if you click here, you can make it required or not required. Most of the time you're going to want to make all these things required, but it is up to you. And then of course you will want to go over here to the actual post submit, and this is where you can either have like something like a thank you message show up, or you can also change it just to a redirect, and you can send them to a specific thank you page that you go and design. And the nice thing is you can take one of the templates that Squarespace has, so you can go on and design a quick thank you page as well. Or if you want to keep it simple, you can just have thank you right here. And once you've gone through and have gone through all these pages and make sure that they are all edited, then you can come back over here to the home. And once those are kind of in place, then your site is really starting to come along. The next thing that you can do is come back over here to the home page. As I mentioned, you can change the style later on if you wanted to. You can change the specific theme, you can change the fonts here, and you can even change the colors and buttons and the specific form design. However, as I mentioned, the more that I play around with this, sometimes the more it looks like kind of worse. I think that maybe looks a little bit better, so you can go through and change specific designs there. And even the color palettes, you can change them just by clicking this and then choosing specific colors. And this will change it for the entire website. So keep that in mind when you change the fonts, it will change it for the entire website. If you wanted a specific font for maybe only a specific section, you can do that as well by closing this and then coming back over here to, let's save this real quick, coming back over here and then editing it, and then coming to the designs, clicking on that. And then here is where you can change some of the fonts as well if you wanted to. You can see you can make them different there, or you can change specific text by clicking on this right there. Now, once you've gone through and made all the designs and gone through all the pages and make sure that everything looks fine, I would recommend giving it a full preview by clicking this top right hand corner. This will just pull it up so you can actually have the full functionality of the website. You can click on all the links to make sure that they go to where you expect them to. You can click back here, and then you can even go to down and click on any of the elements down below. Now you will notice right now in this preview mode, our domain looks something like this, which is like an ugly looking domain. So I'm going to show you how to get a professional looking domain here in just a minute and make sure that your site goes live. Before we do that though, as I mentioned, make sure that this is all tested. Then we can go back over here. In this left hand menu, this is where you can go through and add assets. If you wanted to add even more images, you can do mass uploads, or you can see it keeps track of all the assets that you have here in the left-hand side. This in this left here in the products and services, this is where you can add specific products. I'm not going to go through that in this specific video because it is just like a longer step. I will have a full e-commerce Squarespace tutorial coming out here soon, but just know this is where you can add products and services if you are selling a physical product. You can do invoicing and e-content memberships and even donations or scheduling here as well. Like as I mentioned, with Squarespace, you can do pretty much anything. You can set up specific scheduling on this. So those are some more advanced functionality that you can do if you wanted. And then you have your finance, marketing, contact, and then even analytics here is where you can see the site visits on your website. So if you want to know how much traffic is coming to your website, this is a great place to go to see how many visits you are getting every month, the unique visitors and the page views, and then specific engagement metrics. Contacts is going to, whenever somebody fills out the form, this is where it's going to keep track of that data so you can make sure that you are not missing out on anybody who's filling out the form. And then here in marketing, there are some different options to market your website as well. Now there is one more little thing we want to do before we publish our website, and that is to add what's called the favicon. You can see in this top left-hand corner, this is just like a little black square for Squarespace logo. We want to actually change that to our logo. So in order to do that, we're going to click on settings here, and then under the website, we're going to scroll down here to the favicon, and then in there you can add your logo. So we're going to upload a quick file here, and then once you upload your logo, you can hit save, and then that will change out the favicon when you have your site go live. So we're going to hit save here, and then I'm actually going to refresh this page, see if that went through, and then you can see in this top left hand corner, now it is my logo instead of the Squarespace logo there. Okay, so now our site is actually ready to publish. A very exciting step. In order to publish your website, we want to come over here to the setup guide, and then you can see right now our site availability is private. We can go through and hit manage status here, and then this is where we will need to upgrade in order to actually publish our website. We can go through and continue to edit the website as much as we want, but as soon as we want to publish, this is where we need to actually upgrade. So if we hit upgrade to publish, and as you see, there are 4 different price plans when it comes to Squarespace, and you can see that this is the most popular plan. Let me explain maybe why you would want to go with the personal over the business, or maybe even the commerce or the basic or advanced. So you can see here we have the business, which the biggest upside to this one is that you do get unlimited users over the 2 with the personal plan. And then also you do get a professional email from Google as well with the business plan. So if you really wanted a professional email, then you may want to go with that option. Some of these other things are nice to have. And if you're doing like sales or e-commerce, then you're going to want to go with the business plan. If you're just wanting to collect forms and it's just you and you don't really care about having a business email, then you might want to go with the personal. Now these prices can be a little bit deceiving because this does say $16 per month, but only if you do the annual plan, which will save you $36. You can see if you select one of these plans, it will say pay annually $23 a month or pay $36 a month if you go month to month. So if you're paying annually, then you save quite a bit. So if you can't afford it, it may be worth paying annually, but I'm not going to tell you what to do in that department. Now, one of the pros of paying annually is you do get a free custom domain. If you pay month to month, then you don't get the free custom domain. So that will save you, like $14 for the first year, basically, if you get the custom domain. So for me, I am going to go with the business plan. That's the one that I generally recommend. But because this is a demo site, I'm going to go with the pay monthly here. If it wasn't a demo site, I would go with the annual just because of how much you save and with the free custom domain here. Okay, and from here, we can search for what domains are available. Now, of course, if somebody already has the domain that we are looking for, then we won't be able to use that. But what I would recommend is just starting off by typing in your business name here. We're just going to call this Zoco Demo Shop and see if this is available. We're going to hit enter, and then this is going to give us a bunch of different ideas. And luckily for me, Zoco Demo Shop is available. It gives me an idea of the price here. So it's $14 a year. I get a little bit of a discount with the membership that I have. And then you can scroll down and see all the other ones that are related to that I could use. I generally recommend going with a .com. I think it looks the most professional, but you can see it gives you other options here as well. So you can see Zoco Demo Shops is available. If your domain isn't available, I would recommend just typing in a couple of the other different versions of your keyword or adding something to the beginning or end of it to see if it is. Once you found the one that you like, then you can click here and check this out. Now, if you did go with the annual plan, your domain will be free for the first year. So keep that in mind. But because mine is the monthly plan, I have to pay for it for this right here. So we can hit continue. And then the term length, you can change the term length if you wanted to. So if you wanted to buy it, for the next 10 years, you can see you can pay $208. But for me, we're just gonna go for this next year. I get the $6 discount. So this domain is only $15. So we're gonna hit save here for this first year at least. And then we can go and check out. Then once we've purchased that, then we can go through and set up our professional email if you wanted to do that. For me, I'm just going to hit done here, and then we can go over to our site. And then now you can see we need to verify our email before it goes live. So you want to go and check the email that you signed up for Squarespace and verify that real quick. So I'm gonna go do that real fast. So you get an email that looks something like this where you can hit verify now, and then we are going to return to our account dashboard. And then now we have this nice looking view here. If you have multiple sites, you'll see them listed here as well. And then we can simply just click on this to go to our actual website, back to the editing view here. And then we're going to skip that. And then now we have our our domain set up, but we do need to make sure that our site is set to public. So come over here to the setup guide. You see now here is our domain, and then we want to manage the site status. And then here, instead of private, we want to change this to public, hit save. And then now, congratulations, your store is now built. They had those pop up there, but it just like went away. But if you wanted to grab your URL, you can grab this and then put it over here. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time for the domain to get attached to the server. So keep that in mind. If it doesn't work, give it like 5 or 10 minutes and then come back and try it again. But you can see now our site is live and the Zoco demo shop here, and we are good to go. So congratulations, your site is now live. If you are wanting to take the next step and start sending traffic to your website using ads, I have a full free tutorial on how to use TikTok ads right here. I don't try to sell you a course or anything. It's just a full tutorial teaching you how to run TikTok ads. So be sure to check that out to start sending traffic to your website now.